Yeah, let's put these mocks up. I'm trying to get this first one up here. Okay. So for the first one, again, I don't remember exactly who's this. Well, actually, I do because I just saw the first pick. We're going to do Gentry's first. We're going to do Gentry's first. So Gentry.
Good luck, Gentry.
Let me cook. All right, number one.
Talk to us.
My first round pick, I alluded to it earlier, was one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver we've seen at the combine this week. Just overall solid dude. And I think he kind of crosses off what the Lions may need for an next wide receiver. And then number two, I go Rook. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name because we butchered it like 8 times. I feel like it's just getting disrespectful to the dude. And then number three, I'm going Cooper. And I've kind of seen him like go up and down. So like when I seen him available there, I was running with it. And then cornerback Cam Hart. We've seen a lot of him over the weekend. Like I said, he was just pretty consistent. He wasn't like overboard on any of the drills, but a lot of the deep ball drills, I seen that he was able to get his head around quickly, pick it off, whatnot, had good speed with the running with the ball in his hand. So that was one of the corners that I think is slept on, might be a late round guy that I think will work out for a lot of teams. So yeah, drop your grades in the chat. And I don't know, I think the last two I've drafted a wide receiver. I went from Keon Coleman to Brian Thomas. So I'm kind of sticking with wide receivers round one.
I love it, man.
I like it. I mean, if Brian Thomas is there, I think you have to take him. Like I don't think you even you think about it. Like Brad Holmes just goes, oh, okay, yep, throw in the pick. It'll be the fastest submitted pick we've seen in a couple of years. He needs for Brian Thomas to fall like this, and there's a lot of guys that kind of rise up here with the combine. Brian Thomas, any chance he falls, I think that's a great pick. Rook, you address the defensive line. Cooper, BB, he's a great pick. Yeah, Kansas State guard. I like it. We actually heard Scott Bischoff hype him up a lot, so he likes him. And then Cam Hart is interesting because I don't know what to think. I hear good things, I hear bad things. He's a guy that played pretty well at Notre Dame this year, but I like it. In terms of positions, you pretty much addressed everything you need to. So
yeah, and I think honestly, I tried to draft Max Melton with that pick, and I'm pretty sure he was gone. So he's seeing some movement as far as moving up goes. So I don't know how much like the combine actually like falters into these mock drafts nowadays. Like obviously only being a couple days after. So I don't know. I've seen Max Melton dropped a little bit.
I like Cam Hart though. I mean, he's like 6'3". He's like a big dude, like a big body, 6'3", like over 200 pounds. And he's athletic as well. I like Cam Hart, especially at 92.
He was super fluid at the combine. I'm mad if we didn't really bring him up when we talk about people at the combine. I thought he honestly rose his draft stock because to Booner's point, he's a big corner and people were kind of knocking his agility. But when you watched him, he was just very fluid. He looks very natural to the cornerback position. To get him in round 3, I think that's a corner you can stick on the outside, and obviously you'd have to develop him. But Brian Thomas, man, if we got him in the first round, he would have to tear his ACL or something in the pro day. Obviously, knock on wood. You hope that doesn't happen. But that's the only situation if it does. If he's still sitting there with a torn ACL 29, I hope they're taking him. Like he's just like
Brad would.
Brad would. J-Mo. You traded up for J-Mo.
Yeah, he definitely would. I think if he tore his ACL, Brad would try and get him even more, to be honest with you.
His trade value goes up. Injury concern, we're going to take it. No, but and then especially Cooper Beebe in the third, man. I mean, he's a guy, he's athletic, played center and guard in the third round. That's a steal, too. I think this is solid.
Appreciate it.
Did you say what you think, Boone?
Yeah, I did. I mean, the one that stood out to me, like obviously Cooper Beebe, like that's a guy I've been very high on the last few weeks. I saw about 2 weeks ago, I saw a film of him, and I'll talk about him on mine as well because I had him in mind. But if you just go watch the film on him, just go on Twitter, type his name in, and there's going to be a lot of film. He is someone, and he had a big Saturday as well. If you go look at risers and offensive line, Cooper Beebe was a name that keeps coming up. Selfishly, I was like, I hope he kind of has a bad Saturday because it's kind of like the Keon Coleman thing to where you know already what he can do and what he's about. To where if he drops a little, you can get him a little later, like you already know who he is. So I loved Cooper Beebe one too, and then Cam Hart. I like looking at the back half of these 4-round ones. So I like those two guys at the back half as well.
So on our next one, I don't know whose this is now. I just know Gentry's because I remember Brian Thomas Jr. But for these other ones, I know Booner, you have 2, right?
I have 2. Dude, I made one, and then later in the day, I was just messing around on it, and the one I got, I was like, I have to share this with the people. Like, I can't not share it with you know what I mean? Like, it was just one of those things to where, and I texted you, Jeff. I sent both of them. You're like, all right, cooked a little bit. Like, you cooked here, and it was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
When I got the confirmation, I was like, I had to share it with the people.
So let's see this.
I don't
know. I don't know if this is yours or Lucas's. So speak of whoever's.
Yes.
Okay. Is this is whose?
Look at that draft and tell me whose draft that is.
I knew it was Lucas.
I'm sticking to my guns. Okay.
I love this, by the way.
Every time in every mock draft, I'm trying to trade up for Jer'Zhan Newton. I still said it. I think he's my favorite pick for the Lions in the first round. If you trade up and you get him, I think it's the same level of signing or drafting as Jackson Powers-Johnson, just to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Jackson Powers-Johnson is more dynamic, but just what you're getting for the value of both sides, I'm taking Jer'Zhan Newton every time at 21. Xavier Legette, had him in damn near every second round of my mock drafts, except for last week when I put Kalen Bullock. Didn't really like the way it was when I was looking back at it. So I'm taking Xavier Legette every time in the second round. Ran a 4.39 at the 40. To Booner's point, he might have been outside of Ladd, the best wide receiver at the combine, and he has tape to go with it. And then my man, Mohamed Kamara, Big Mo, he actually had a really good combine as well. He ran a good 40 time. He tested out a lot better than I thought. I don't care at all that it gave me a D-. Mohamed Kamara on the outside, you add to the edge and the interior of the defensive line. And then Max Melton at pick 92. Give me it every time. Give me it every time, Pauls.
Yeah, I mean, Jer'Zhan Newton, I think we're all, and we'll get to at some point, maybe today, if not tomorrow, what how his meeting went with the Lions. So that's a realistic one. You got Xavier Legette. I mean, this is like Lucas ball nowhere central. I mean, you got Mohamed Kamara in here, Max Melton we're a pro Max Melton show. We like Max Melton a lot. So I like it. It's a great draft. Screw the PFF
love this.
grades. I'm sticking to PFF.
Yeah, I'll say this. One of my drafts, one of my two that I submitted looks a little similar to this. So I
wanted to go offensive line, but then I was just looking at the picks, and Kamara was actually going up. Like I think, like to Gentry's point, some of these players in the mock draft kind of rise and fall, and he's a guy that thinks rising. Yeah. And so I was like, do I want to take him or Mason McCormick? And I was like, give me Kamara, give me Big Mo. And then I had to get Melton at the last pick.
Big Mo.
No, yeah. I like it a lot. Obviously, Newton, I think he would be a steal, and we'll talk about him a little bit later as far as the Lions go. And Mohamed Kamara, I don't understand how he gets a D- that late. I think if you get him in the round 3, pick 73, I think that's great. And then Max Melton, like Jeff said, we're a pro Max Melton podcast, and I think he's a top 5, corner in this draft without a doubt, maybe top 3, depending on how people grade him. So I absolutely love it.
I'll say this, Max Melton, I was saying on Friday as well that he looked small out there, but from where we were sitting, I went back and watched, and I went and looked at Max Melton. I looked at more things. Someone said it to me as well. He's actually not as small as you guys think. Like, as I was saying, like, you just see him, that dude is absolutely jacked. Like, we were pretty high up watching Max Melton and them out there, so you can't really see how big he is. When I went back and watched on TV and on my phone and everything, Max Melton's a dude. Like, I'm surprised. Like, if you get him at 92, that's one of the bigger steals of the draft. Like, he's going to go up. So, I like this. I'm interested in this Mohamed Kamara thing. That's where I'm interested. Like, can you get him at 120, like in the 100s?
I think so.
Or do you have to get him at 70 something? That's where I'm like, I'm interested. I'm confused.
I think he's a guy that, especially after his pro day, like he's gonna rise. He's gonna keep rising just because he's just explosive off the line of scrimmage. But as far as the size with Max Melton, when you look at it, I get your point, Booner. Like, he's not a perimeter guy, but he's built and he plays a lot like Marshawn Lattimore. Just when you're looking at it, how he's built, he's just fucking cocked. I mean, I just think he's a guy that will make a difference in the run and pass game immediately for whatever team he falls to.
He's one of those dudes that in a couple years you're gonna be like, oh, he was a 3rd round pick. Like, he was a 3rd, like, you got him in the 3rd, man.
It's fair.
Yeah, I think Max Melton is a 2nd round pick, man.
Yeah,
I think he's a 2nd round. I think San Francisco in the 2nd round takes him. I think they'll find a way to trade up and take.
Don't say that, please.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need those problems, bro. Don't even come on.
I've seen they've had
knock on wood.
They seem to like him a lot. He seems like a guy that would just fit. And hey, they got Brandon Staley over there now. So hey,
oh my God,
maybe he fits schematically what the old Staley's looking for. But Yeah, no, you did a good job. This is a good job. Booner, you'll go last because then you can go through both, and then we'll end
Okay, that's fair. Love it.
And then we'll get to mine here. And this one's a little interesting for me. I have 2 players in this 3-rounder that are a part of the same university that played together this season, and that's going to be Darius Robinson and Chris Abrams-Drain. So
I love this.
So this is my mocks. We got D-Rob, the edge out of Missouri. And Missouri has NFL talent all on defense. They got a ton of NFL dudes on
defense. That defense was good, man. That defense was good.
It was very, very good. We got D-Rob at 29. I love D-Rob, man. Checks off the character, checks off the tape, checks off everything. The size, just I think what he does translating to the NFL. I like Darius Robinson a lot. Like Scott said, he's an NFL-ready run defender. So Lions are going to love that. And of course, he's a former defensive tackle, cut some weight. Now he's an edge, kind of moving around your defensive line. He might not be Aiden Hutchinson, but damn, every defense needs a guy like Darius Robinson that can do his job at a high level. At 61, I got Xavier Legette. we both do. Xavier Legette, man, I don't care that they gave me a D+. I don't give a damn. He is a physical specimen. He's a physical specimen, and he's a true X. He's what this team is missing ever since DJ Chark left. I think Jared's going to love a guy like Xavier Legette. Shout out to Lucas for putting us on to Mr. Xavier Legette over there with Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. At 73, I got T'Vondre Sweat. And this is Booner's guy, Booner. I took a little piece of everything, like Chris Abrams-Drain. Scott put us on to him. He's been in Gentry's mocks. It feels like I got one of each of our guys here. So I got T'Vondre Sweat. I got Booner's guy, who is just a massive human being. I mean, he's going to take up a lot of space. He's going to draw double teams.
Standing there.
Yes. I mean,
can I throw something out there with him too, real quick?
Yeah.
We did talk about how he might have been a little too heavy and maybe he didn't test. I just looked at the NFL website, and you know how they give, like, they have their grades. I don't know how they do it. I know there's the all these different like places grade different things. He was the second graded interior defensive player, second graded one out of all of them, just behind Byron Murphy. It was T'Vondre Sweat, Newton, Chris Jenkins, Braden Fisk. He was the second one graded there, 6.4 grade. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know how they grade it, but I'm just throwing it out there.
I will say, Boone, I do think he goes higher than 73. I think he goes higher. I think he's probably a second-round pick, but he was there at 73. Therefore, I took him. And then I have Chris Abrams-Drain, like I said, in the 3rd round. People, and I see this in the chat, and it's fair, right? Where's the offensive lineman, which you could certainly make a case. I had Graham Barton last week on my mock draft, which I think is an option for the Lions to take a tackle. I had a tackle in another mock draft, another week we did. So I've been bouncing back and forth in this round. Obviously it's only 3 rounds, so it doesn't erase the fact they could take a offensive lineman later in the draft. If you prefer one, that's a fair criticism. I do think one of the biggest needs this offseason is keeping this offensive line elite. So that's completely fair, but this was based on the best available. And to me, Chris Abrams-Drain was there at 92, and he's going to be the better corner between him and Rakestraw. I do believe that. He's a little smaller, but he has a knack for the football, had double-digit pass deflections, couple interceptions, a part of a stacked Missouri defense, played in the SEC against SEC receivers, and he's a competitor. So I think the Lions are going to like him. He's great value at 92. Max Melton was gone at this point. That was the other guy I contemplated. So I'm with kind of to Mike's point. He was already off the table. But I do have 2 Missouri players. So there's my draft. What do you guys think?
I mean, I love it. I think this is honestly, and Booner, I know this is your guy, but I think this is around the area that T'Vondre Sweat should be taken, because I knew that he was a big boy. But easy even put it in there. Sweat was damn near breaking the combine record for the heaviest player to ever step in there. Okay. And the thing is I understand that's a good thing. But if you're taking a guy in the first 2 rounds, you want him to be on the field consistently. If you're asking me Chris Jenkins or T'Vondre Sweat, I'm mailing in Chris Jenkins. I'm not thinking twice about it. But this, if you get him in the 3rd round right here, I think it's great value. So I think C+, again, ignore the grades. I love this draft, especially with Abrams-Drain. I agree with you, especially after watching him in person. He was another guy that was just extremely fluid. He tested very well. And you could just see he has everything that an NFL quarterback needs to have to transition to the next level. And I think he's going to do that perfectly, especially if he's in a position where he can develop behind somebody. So this is an A in my opinion. I love this draft.
Good job, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I like it too. Obviously, the bottom
That's
two
mine.
picks have been in many of my mock drafts, and Darius Robinson, him, obviously the need for edge is very big for the Lions, so I like him, and he's had a lot of hype about going to the Lions, so that's another plus. I just want to point out something. Has anyone drafted a wide receiver besides Xavier that wasn't me? I feel like
I think
Well, we haven't done my mock drafts yet, Gentry.
Well,
okay, that's fair.
we haven't done mine yet because I have a receiver
Booner.
that.
But
I have a
to be
receiver
fair,
I
I
haven't
think he's
seen
the
yet.
only wide receiver you three have picked. Not that he's not good at anything, but I'm just making.
You better watch. You already tried throwing strays at him earlier, Gentry.
I mean, dude, I was bugging you every time he dropped the ball. I would just tap Lucas. I was like, "Yep, there's another one."
We saw more incomplete throws from JJ McCarthy than Xavier Legette.
All right, what are we doing here?
what are we doing?
That's
for?
wrong.
Let me say something about
that's wrong.
Gentry, if you're gonna go
cross the line, Gentry.
If you're gonna go at him, just remember, if the Detroit Lions draft him, guess who he's in a room with? Amon-Ra St. Brown. Guess who's gonna get on the?
Oh no! I wasn't saying that. I was
gonna
just bringing up the point that
let that man get better.
Like Jeff said, we're an Xavier Liggett podcast too. So I mean, but anyway,
wait,
I like
was
it
that?
overall.
Say that again.
I overall I do like the draft. So
I think too, it's kind of Mike's point about the wide receivers. One receiver that I contemplated taking, to be honest with you, at 61 was what Lucas just said, Malachi Corley. I think the Lions are going to like him a lot. I think they're going to like Malachi Corley. He would be a gadget that Ben would just fall in love with, like how they can use a guy like Malachi Corley. I almost took him. I went with Xavier Legette, leaned towards the bigger wide receiver, but I like Malachi. You got me on the Malachi Corley, Lucas. I like
real quick, a Booner bomb mid-show here. Booner Insider. There has been a trade within the NFC North. The Chicago Bears have traded with the Buffalo Bills. The Bears are receiving guard Ryan Bates, and they're giving up a 5th-round pick in this year's draft for him. It says here that Chicago previously actually tried to sign him last year as a restricted free agent in free agency. They tried to sign Ryan Bates. But the Bills actually matched him to keep Ryan Bates in Buffalo, and now they just gave up a 5th-round pick to bring him to Chicago.
Building up that O-line for Caleb Williams, it seems like.
It's either Caleb Williams or Justin Fields.
Good for them. For them.
I don't know. We don't let the Bears do what the Bears do. Ryan Poles, who knows what that man's
Ryan Bates is going to have to take on a 300-pound Devondre Sweat. So, good luck.
You're right. He's going to have to take on Devondre Sweat in the MAC. Aleem.
Yeah, the MAC.
It's going to be a problem.
Big Mac.
Sweat's going to have to get on that McNeil diet for sure. Absolutely. ASAP.
Yeah.
And walking around in garbage bags.
That's a great point too, because Aleem came in pretty big. I mean, I don't know if he wasn't Devondre Sweat.
He was like 320. He wasn't 360, but he was like 320, I think, or something.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight, a lot faster. So we'll see. Because that's one of Dan Campbell's things. People forget about that. Remember, he says stay in shape. That's one thing he listed as a number one thing. You got to stay in shape.
I mean, look at Bugs. That could have been an issue with Bugs. We just didn't know was not staying in shape. We don't know. No one ever found out what happened with Bugs. That could have been a big reason why.
All right, let's get
10-piece.
Let's get to Booners. We got 2 versions. Booner, I'm putting up the first one here, and then you can break this down. It speaks to kind of Mike's Mike's question he had.
Yeah, the wide receiver. Did anyone else think it's the wide receiver? Give me Ladd McConkey to the Detroit Lions. I traded back just a couple picks, nothing crazy. I just wanted to trade back a little out of the first round. I probably could have got him at 29. I wanted to add another pick because I wanted to add some more players on this football team. I think Brad does that, by the way, too. I think he adds another pick within the first 4 rounds. I know we have 4 top 100 picks. I think some reason Brad's just gonna find a way to add another pick and go get some of these needs. Like we keep talking, you need DNs, you need defensive interior guys, you need corners, you need offensive, you need everything. I think he does it. So I traded back a little bit, added 1 more pick in the 4th round, grabbed Ladd McConkey. Like I said, from what we saw at the combine, Ladd was to me the best on the field, most consistent. And that's what this Detroit Lions team's all about, is being consistent, getting the right guys in the room. Imagine Ladd McConkey guys and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Mount, that offense right there, it goes to a different level. Obviously Braden Fisk, I don't know if he falls to 61, to be honest. Maybe, but what he did on Saturday, he had a huge day Saturday, so maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I think I think that's great value at 61. I think getting him there, kind of just addressing that interior a little bit. Someone with some speed as well. 73. We already know what Mikey did on Saturday. We know getting him at 70. I don't know how he fell to 73. I don't think he'll be there. We talked about it Friday that he potentially could be a second round guy and probably will be now. But he was available at 73, so I took him very, very fast. Who was it else that took Cooper BB or Bebe? BB. Gentry, let's go, baby. I got a D- for taking him there, but I think Cooper is going to be. He's going to be a guy that could play right away. Like, if you don't re-sign Jonah, Cooper is going to be able to play right away. In my opinion, I think I try to look at that shuttle thing because Scott obviously talked about us on the show to where guys with, I think it was a 4.47 shuttle played like 85% of the snaps in their career. He ran a 4.61. I just don't think that matters. I think his stock went up a ton on Saturday. Everyone loved what they saw out of him. And then Javon Solomon, I watched some of him. I didn't know who to really pick at 102, and I looked up some guys' film. He's a dog. I don't know if you guys have seen him. Like, he's quick. And I did see his draft stock fell a little bit actually Saturday from what I've read. But if you go watch him, guys, Javon Solomon's an absolute demon. And I know he played at Troy, but just educate yourself there. Lucas, I would love for you to do a ball knower on him in the next couple days. Write that name down. I'll write it down for you here. Javon Solomon. I'll send that to you later. I would like you to do some homework on him. But I don't know. That's where I went. I kind of addressed everything. I don't know if Dan Campbell and Brad are going to address everything like I did. They probably won't and go best player available. But if we came out with this draft here, fellas, don't tell me you guys wouldn't love it.
No, we're pro Ladd McConkey here, and I think you got some starters, like guys that would play immediately. I mean, Ladd McConkey is like the perfect wide receiver for Jared Goff. Like, he would love Ladd McConkey, absolutely love him. And then Braden Fisk, another guy. I mean, he's going to immediately start next to Aleem McNeil, so that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Mikey Sanders still, he's going to be playing. You got to find a way to get him on the field. So I mean, there's no denying that. I think Mike's going to be one of those, second, third round guys that you look back and you're like, yeah, he had first round ability. That's just, it is what it is. Cooper BB, he's going to be able to play right away too. Javon Solomon, I know Troy is an interesting one. What do you have? I just looked him up. He has 16 sacks this past season. So at 6'2",
where are you?
Yeah, so hey, who knows?
Go
Javon
watch his film. I watched a couple minutes of his film before the show when I did this. He's a dog. He's an absolute. He's fast. Like, he's a dog.
Yeah, no, it's a great draft. I love it.
Yeah, Ladd is like, you want to talk about the perfect Josh Reynolds replacement? That's like Josh Reynolds replacement on steroids, just because he's going to develop within this offense. If he's there at 33, because there's a chance that he goes even middle to late first round. So I think that Ladd at 33 is great value. Fisk, I think, is perfect. I think that's the range he's going to fall, because he did test well at the combine. The whole thing with him is just he's a little undersized for a defensive interior guy, so that's going to make him fall naturally when you have guys like Byron Murphy and those likes. So that's going to make him fall. But Mike in the third round would be insane. I think there's even a chance that he goes in the first round. I already brought it up. You look at teams like the Packers that need a safety, especially even teams like the Texans. If they're Jared Verse, Latu are off the board and they're going best player available, I could see Mike Sanderson on Green Bay in the first round without a doubt. I think that's one of those things where it's like, oh, he went that early. Okay, makes sense. Next pick. Like, nobody'd be throwing a fit if Mike Sanderson went in the first round.
Yeah, I agree with that.
No, Booner, I think you cooked. I give you an A. I love how you got Ladd after us talking so highly about him over the weekend. I think Fisk is a steal at 61. I like Lucas said, and you both said, I don't think Mike will be there at 73, but if you somehow get him, great. And then I took Cooper at that exact pick, so I love it. And I'm not too familiar on Solomon, like you guys aren't either, but you addressed the edge position with a late rounder. I can't hate it.